Welcome to this very special broadcast. I'm Anand Narasimhan, and what we're bringing to you today is a brilliant concept brought to you by Puma. It's the Puma School of Speed. Does your school have the fastest children in India? That's the question, that's the search, that's the hunt. 3 cities, Mumbai, Bangalore and Delhi to start with, but the entries are flooding, and we've got a very special guest with us today. The lady in the middle, we all know, Chitrangada Singh, along with being an actress, and you're also training in skeet, so an athlete, if we can call her. She's also been associated with Puma. And then there's Girish Malaya. I've got to talk to you about him. But first up, the MD of MD India of Puma, Rajiv Mehta. First up, why School of Speed?
So you want to catch the kids when they are young, before they grow up and before they forget what physical fitness is all about. If you see kids today, they spend a lot more time watching television, staring into their iPad screens, and very few kids actually enjoy running outdoors or even playing football or doing anything to do with sport. So we said, Puma as a brand should bring that culture back to the schools. So what better than to target them just when they are getting their physical fitness together, when they're at a time where they can take it a little bit more seriously. So that's how the concept of School of Speed came about.
And they are all people who walk the talk. We got to tell our viewers very clearly, and we show you how and why. Before I get to Chitrangada, I'm going to go across to Girish Malaya. He has done the marathon.
He runs the talk. He doesn't just walk it.
Yeah,
he
runs the talk.
He runs the talk.
He's one person who's done 251 kilometers in 6 days across the Sahara at an average temperature of 50 degrees. He's just done the Bombay Marathon along with Rajiv. He ran the full marathon. Rajiv ran the half. We talk about all of that. But tell us, how important is running? Have you always been running?
So running is something which has come.
Did it come from the time you started? You ran away from school or ran away from the classes?
So I've been running like 3 to 5 kilometers, last 20 odd years. But just before the first Bombay Marathon, that's when I said, this sounds challenging, and I registered for the first full marathon. And since then, it's been marathons, ultra marathons, multi-stage ultra marathons, and now I'm looking at triathlons. So it's been a constant progression.
Looking at you, it's hard to believe you had a 12-kilo backpack on you, or while you're running out through the Sahara.
Yeah.
So is it more about grit as much as
I'd say about 70% would be mental and 30% physical. To give you some context, the average age of runners who did the MDS Marathon des Sables is about 45. So ages, and there are people who are blind who can do this. There are people who are with blade runners. So disability does not, the rules are the same for everybody.
Correct.
So man, woman, any age, anything, everybody, same rules, same climate, and you just go there and do it.
The fact is, it's wow that the average age is 45, Chitrangada, but it's again saddening, isn't it? You would want to see a lot of youngsters. So that also reflects as to why School of Speed and the reason why people need to get out and run, because not too many people are doing it today.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think even it's not so much of a generation gap, but if I see younger kids nowadays, they're all just sitting at home. All they're discussing is who has how many games on their iPads and stuff like that. And it's not about, how many sports have you played. I remember in my school days, it was about, this guy is probably playing so many sports and he's the sports person of the year. It was a very important thing in school, that who's probably dived the highest and jumped the highest. And so, even the conversations have changed. So there's definitely a huge shift in priorities as to what you do for
being
free time.
interested in physical training and keeping yourself physical. Is it a necessity for you because of your profession or because it's your passion? Because you've also trained in martial arts, isn't it? You also
not martial arts, just kickboxing is what I do, just for fitness,
Okay.
But my father was in the army, and I think just growing up, even with my brother, everybody, it was such a done thing that you have to learn a sport. You either had to go swimming. Everybody has to know how to swim. You have to know cycling. You have to cycle to school. So it wasn't like cars were going and dropping us or anything like that. So I think it was not even conscious. It just happened. It was part of your life. that everybody around us are everybody's going swimming in the evening, everybody's going for sports in the evening. It was just something that we did, you know, it was normal.
Sport was a way of life.
It was just a way of life.
It was also a way to break out.
It was not even an effort. It was where you met people. It was a cool hangout place.
Exactly.
The basketball court.
Yeah.
Or
now
the
if you
swimming
go to a
pool.
pool, it's 50% of kids are overweight, you know. And it's really
They float.
And you
They don't swim.
it's really saddening, and you wonder what's happened. As in, I think it's just been last 10 years.
Yeah.
It's just especially urban kids. You know, I was attending a seminar with kids, you know, where kids from rural areas and urban areas were there, and talking to them and motivating.
There's so much of a
huge
difference. Huge difference.
As in the rural kids, Champaran and other regions, they were like young, fit, more
wiry,
energy.
and they run
Whereas our
fast
Bangalore,
and
Bombay
it's-
kids are, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Flabby. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Overweight, and how many of us today don't think twice before running to catch that bus or to catch the train? You know, all that running that we did as kids allows us to get onto the train, get on board the train and get off the bus, isn't it? But coming back to the program, and on a serious note, why running? And like I said, he's run the half marathon, so you do walk the talk. That fact is, you need to run. But why running? And do you think it's going to be difficult to find kids who love to run? And do you think, as a matter of this program, you're going to get kids to enjoy the process of running or enjoy running per se?
So, you know, as a personal example, two things that come to my mind. One is that I never ran before. I was like 3 years back is when I started running, and I was definitely overweight. And the amount of energy that I have now that I run, the amount of mental agility that it brought, the whole day you're never tired. You know, in the end of the day, you go back and I still have energy to talk to my 2-year-old and run behind him. Whereas a lot of people now who are not into physical fitness, any form, just get tired. Also, running is in your nature. I see my 2-year-old run all the time, and it's you know, sometimes tiring to constantly run behind him. So when you say that, you know, kids, you know, well, they take to running, I think it's second nature for people to run. And I think somewhere we've just forgotten in the entire competitiveness that, you know, my school is better, there's international school, there's this program, that program. And I think they've forgotten about sports, how important it is for you to perform better in academics. And I think that's what we want to get back in life.
I don't know how many times parents actually go and check what the school grounds are like.
Yeah, exactly.
You check what are your, you know, other activities. Do you travel abroad for this and that, and exchange programs? I think that's far, you know, bigger priorities for people than checking what the school grounds are. I mean, as basic as that, you know.
Because unless the parents themselves thinking that, you know, where's my kid going to run, where is he going to play,
I think it's so
they're not going to watch out or look out for that. Let's ask the man who's actually using and, you know, doing the stuff. He's working with Puma, so I can't ask him that because he'd say, oh, my products are great. But I'm going to ask Girish. The reason is the Puma School of Speed, the task is not easy. They want the kids to run it's a relay race. You're going to run, each kid is going to run at least 1 kilometer, and it's 4-kilometer run. That's how it is, isn't it? How much of an impact do good performance shoes have, or, you know, in terms of bearing, in terms of your performance and in terms of you being able to do that?
So personally, what I believe, especially when you're doing longer distances, is to rotate your shoes. So ideally, I go with a 2-shoe combination. So I use the Fast 500 V2 and the Fast 900. So the higher the number, the higher is the cushioning. So when I'm doing a full marathon, like the Bombay Marathon, it was Fast 900 because I needed more cushioning. We're running on concrete, hammering. And plus, if you have cramps, you need something to compensate, because if you're running barefoot or something and your legs are tired, you actually hit your heel. So it really, you know, we're not designed to do ultra distances as human beings. So, you know, that sort of helps. But if I want to do a faster run, I prefer lesser cushioning, you know, direct contact with the floor.
Shoes that are lighter, but then you can feel
lighter,
the grip,
more supple,
you can feel the grip, but then you don't feel the impact as much.
Yeah.
Great.
So that works better. So younger kids actually have better, their, you know, legs are not pampered like our legs are, wearing you know, the weight and all the other things that go with it, our lifestyle especially. So the younger kids actually can do with, you know, your lesser cushioning shoes, doing a lot better for them. Plus it's lighter, so, you know, that also helps.
So you think these guys make good shoes?
Yeah. Personally, I've used them, so I definitely would go for those shoes, and I like what they're doing.
Yeah, and this is from a man who's also training for the Ironman coming up in 2014, isn't it? So that's also going to be a grueling
that's going to be a different grueling.
Yeah. You agree with this? That feeling of breaking free and
Yeah.
leaving everything behind and just being one with yourself, does that happen?
Definitely. I think it's probably a sort of, I mean, I know of people, I haven't done that much of running, but I think a lot of people say that, it's almost meditation when you're doing marathon, because you're so focused and you're constantly talking to yourself, trying to motivate yourself. So there's so much of self-conversation, talk, your levels of breaking your own limits, and it's a damn interesting process. I mean, I've also sort of done something like that, but probably not at the, levels that they probably are doing.
Tell us, what have you done?
What have I done? See, I mean, for fitness, I guess I have done running. I have run about 7 kilometers. There was a time when I was doing 7 kilometers every day. But just out of, the fact that I started enjoying it. It was fitness as first, I mean, in the beginning. But then I started enjoying the whole process. Or when you're swimming and you have to finish that length. You have to finish that length because you want to do those 25 that day. Right. So just any time when you're trying to push yourself, physically, I think you mentally get so involved, and it definitely does something to you,
You tend to feel like, aaj nahi karte hain, I got this niggle here, I don't want to do it, so I'll do it there, that pain there. So getting out of bed is a big challenge in the first place. But when you're running, there are times when you want to stop. Right, I'll get to these guys, but I'm asking you, when you did 7 kilometers at about 3-4, did you want to stop? How did it push you?
You start thinking of your breathing sometimes. I've done that. Sometimes music really helped. I would always put that one track that I really run fast on or get my rhythm on right at the end when I want to finish that bit. Or, or you keep saying, okay, till the next post or till the next tree or something like that, you keep putting in your mind, and, you keep pushing yourself. Sometimes just looking at your feet when you're running, that helps. I mean, I don't know, just keep one foot in front of the other.
Think of the person you want to kick in the shins, there he is.
No, it'll help if it was a good looking guy you're trying to catch, but that doesn't happen.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's different, the mindset of kids. When you're talking about a school program, you're talking about young kids, their motivation is different, isn't it? Girish, isn't it different?
Yeah, so
they will, like a lot of us do it because we need to keep fit. We want to, as we grow older, we want to stay younger. A lot of people get onto that because the doctor has said, unless you try and shed off a few pounds or you start running, I mean, you will not run enough. So the motivation is different. But for kids, it's different, isn't it?
Yeah, it comes more naturally to them. It's a lot easier for them in that sense. Also, distances. If you tell a kid to do 5 kilometers, even though he's fit enough, he can't really do it because for him, the pace at which he starts is very high. He doesn't think rationally. Like we try to rationalize, I need to keep up a certain pace so that, I don't breathe too much, too hard, my heart rate doesn't go up. The kid is not really bothered. And he's lost all his inhibition. So 1 kilometer, I think, works beautifully for kids. Yeah. And once they get hooked to it and, you get into the habit, you make it cool. Especially if parents were to be into fitness and leading by example. I think that really works. I think that is the next change you'll see.
So we're going to take a very short break. On the other side, we're going to ask them if they've called their respective schools and said, send in your kids into the Puma School of Speed. And we'll also talk about the one man who's made running phenomenally stylish and to do, Usain Bolt. Stay with us. Back. Perhaps after Amitabh Bachchan, in India it is Usain Bolt who's made running sexy, isn't it? Everybody wants to run like Bolt, but that's the hook, isn't it? He's run 100 meters, and you're going to get these kids, Rajiv, to run 4 kilometers. So, so who are these kids who are going to be running this distance, and how do you think it's going to motivate them?
So we've got the junior and the senior category. The junior is 7th and 8th standard, and senior is 9th and 10th. So you've got the gender split also, male and female, boys and girls rather. And the hook is that they get to meet Usain Bolt. The winners, the fastest team, travels to wherever Usain Bolt is, and they get to meet him. So
that's quite attractive. I would like to.
Unfortunately, you're no longer 15, so you can't get there. Perhaps because of your association with Puma could get you there.
We need a chaperone.
The motivator.
But you think they've made guys like Usain Bolt have really made running smart? Or you would also want to talk about some of the middle distance runners and the others. Or got Ashwini Rachappa here who still
Well,
make
yes,
running
of course,
so
we have
glamorous.
one here, but I really think we need to make heroes out of people like him. I think if you make heroes like that, like you know, we've got Usain Bolt and we have so many people looking up. It's the heroes you make is what you will have the younger people follow. I really think so. So we do have a very big Indian cinema, you know, the Hindi film industry, which is such a big sort of inspiring, aspiring kind of, you know, image. I mean, you have a lot of heroes, and that's who I think almost half the kids want to be. So I think we need to build more heroes out of people like him, out of people like Usain Bolt, and that's when you will have people wanting to be them.
And even in your fraternity, or even in the Hindi film fraternity, or even the film fraternity overall, you know, they have fitness has become a very
It's such
big
a,
mantra.
so yeah,
isn't it?
I mean, actually, you see so many of these, gymnasiums, health clubs, everywhere is springing up, and I think it has a lot to do with this whole culture which is coming in. But I think this initiative particularly is very, very good because it's not just talking about going to a gym and looking good. It's about making fitness part of your life, and it starts young. It starts at the grassroots level where it is. It's not just about running and having fun. It's also about a sense of competitive spirit that comes in, which is very important. You know, and it's good. It's that kind of spirit. It's a good thing for kids to have that.
You know, are you trying to tell the message coming across from Puma now is that we are not just good-looking shoes, but we are also very good shoes, is it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, we are serious running shoes as well.
And this focus on performance running, you think it's going to work? It's like a long-term thing for Puma, and the focus on grassroots. Again, I'm coming back. You know, why choose running? You know, you could have chosen multiple sport. You could have chosen different arenas, but why running again?
So, you know, if you look back at Puma's history, we had Maradona and Pele, one of the two most successful footballers who wore Puma. And then if you look at athletics, we had Linford Christie, and we had some of the fastest US guys wore Puma way back. So in history, we do have that credibility in running. And just to bring it back into perspective, running is easiest for kids to do. You don't really need an equipment, you don't really need a big ground, you don't need need the infrastructure.
You need good shoes.
Yeah, you need good shoes, exactly.
Right.
So I think that's how we thought that, you know, running is something that Puma can do and has been doing. It's just that in India we haven't focused on it. So with the great kind of fast series that we have, I said that we can cater to these kids as well.
No, but these are for professional runners, or you also have a line for kids, the target segment or the group that you're targeting or aiming to bring on in terms of the School of Speed.
Right.
That age group also can go walk into a Puma store and pick up stuff which they feel which will help them run better.
Definitely. We do have a range, for everyone. It's not only for the professional athlete. It's also for amateurs and people who are just taking up running. So we have a whole gamut of running shoes now.
No, because this is not just an MD talking. It's somebody who runs and who's also a father. So obviously, when you're making an investment, you would want to make an investment in a product which is not going to harm you, isn't it? A lot of people go in and look at a fancy pair of shoes. The kid says, "I want this," but you say no because it's your kid who's going to wear them, and it should do more. Good to you rather than harm, isn't it?
But I think it's extremely important that technology, how it's coming into equipment now, I mean, especially sportswear, it's made such a huge difference in performances, wherever across the board you see anything that technology is extremely important. So yeah, I think you should definitely invest in a pair of shoes which will enhance your experience and also improve your performance. It's whether it's golf, it's anything that I've seen, everywhere, the kind of science and R&D that's coming in, it just improves your performance.
Aren't you look at the mindset of a youngster. You want to wear shoes not just because they're good for your feet.
Exactly.
But they also, you can wear them, you see.
Yeah, sure. I mean, that's why even our performance shoes look good.
Right. So, how many entries are you expecting? Has the initial response been very encouraging?
Initial response has been really good.
And have you called back your school?
Yes, I did. I was actually incidentally at a school reunion when we had an ad and we had the thought. So yeah, so hopefully we'll have at least 300 teams participating across 3 cities. This is Bombay, Delhi and Bangalore. So we would like to get more than 300 for sure. So that's our benchmark. If you realize that you were first initially competing in the city, which is common for all the school kids in any city to do. You'll have inter-school. But at a national level, when you're competing, you may be the fastest in Bombay, but you will be pitted against Delhi guys or the Bangalore guys, and then we'll definitely find the fastest in the country. So that's a challenge, and that's a competitive spirit as well.
In your case, you're not too far, you don't run for time. You run because you want to see whether you can endure it physically. But in this case, it's going to be tough, isn't it?
Yeah.
4 kids, they're going to run a kilometer each.
Yeah.
So 4 kilometers in limited time.
Yeah. I think, is this the first time this is being done on a school level in
Yes,
India?
that's
so
first time.
This has never happened before.
Never happened before.
On a school level, national has never happened.
No. The AIFF would be the AFI, Athletic Federation of India, would be doing the junior nationals and the senior nationals, but that's not 1 kilometer, and that doesn't happen. Doesn't happen at 7th, 8th, 9th level. At that age group.
Not junior, sub-juniors.
Yeah,
Not just
exactly.
that, the initiative, the format is what makes it very interesting,
Yes.
isn't it? You've got to run like a team. Because you have to run 500 meters up and back, maybe 2.5 circles of a track, depending upon the venue. But the fact is, you can't let your teammate down. You slow down, the other person slows down, or you run too hard. You run the first 600 too hard, the balance 400 you lose out. So they have to prepare as a team too. So it is also bringing in other values, of not just working with yourself.
I think it's great. I think it's a great initiative, really. And not just because it's Puma, it could be anything. But I really think it's a
are you going to keep it at 3 cities?
We want to take it to a lot many more cities. We are seeing how the initial response is and how this edition goes, and definitely for the second edition, we want to take it to a lot more cities.
Right. Another question I think a lot of the parents and a lot of the kids would want to know: what's in it for me? In the sense, all right, we win, so what do we get? Usain Bolt to dur ki baat hai. First place when we win, what happens?
You definitely get a lot of Puma
one.
merchandise, a lot of great stuff. You'll get a free access to any of the Puma stores. You can go pick up Puma stuff and feel good about it. Yeah.
But that's only for the winners. The participants, you will have to beat your opponents to get something out there. Otherwise, you've gone out there and run. You've run with your teammates, and you've run 4 kilometers.
Yes, and you also have some good-looking legs in the bargain.
You
might just show off those legs in the pool. You get to do that. Yeah.
Right. The question: you've done the School of Speed. Right. What else is Puma doing if the focus is going to be running?
Like Girish said, that if parents take it up themselves and lead by example, running becomes a lot cooler and a lot easier for the kids. So in that space, we've targeted the corporates, and in the corporate space, we're doing a similar format, but 5 kilometers. So it's a relay of 4 into 5. Each teammate runs 5 kilometers, and you have a team of 4, so you can register as a company. So again, it promotes bonding outside of work. It also gets people off their chair and become a lot fitter. And because it's a corporate initiative, the HR and the company pushes you. So it's not your own doing, and it's easy because it's 5 kilometers. And 5 kilometers as an adult, it's very easy for you to do it.
So is this the one that's called Urban Stampede?
Exactly. So I was coming to it, the Puma Urban Stampede to 8 cities this year, and we hope to have at least 500 teams participating in each city. So
and when to when? What are the timelines when you're planning to organize?
So it's starting in February. So Bombay is going to be 2nd of Feb, Delhi is going to be 16th of Feb, and then as and when the calendar goes ahead, we'll do 8 cities across the year, and then culminate again in Bombay with a finale towards the end of the year.
What's in it?
The advantage with the Urban Stampede is these are the guys who will actually then do a half marathon and then do a full marathon. That's where the addiction sets in, and you get into a lot of running groups and associated activities, which sort of fuels the thing after that. So they start off with Urban Stampede and get that buzz, and then they move to a half marathon and full marathon. That's the pipeline.
Great concept. So you're going from 8 years on to upwards.
Exactly.
At all levels, you're trying to get them to get out and run. More importantly, wear Puma and run.
That's right.
There you go. All right, we've run out of time on this very special broadcast. But Rajiv, Chitrangada and Girish, thanks a lot for joining in and sharing your thoughts. And let's hope, like Usain Bolt, this also sets off well, the Puma School of Speed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.